So Las Vegas Raiders came to this season with a lot of hope. Last season, they made the playoffs in spite of so much controversy around the team. You have John Gruden, his emails leaking, he gets fired. Of course, we all know the really unfortunate incident with their star wide receiver Henry Ruggs ends up with somebody killed. He ends up in jail. He still yet to be ends up getting his sentencing, but that obviously was a major gut blow to the team last year. Damon Arnett posting guns and stuff. They had all these wild things surrounding the team, and they rallied around Derrick Carr, and they made the playoffs. And they lost in the first round to the eventual AFC champs, Cincinnati Bengals, put up a fight, drove the ball down the field in Cincinnati with the opportunity, I believe, to tie the game. Didn't come to be. They lose the game, move off their interim coach, and bring in Josh McDaniels in. Give him a second opportunity. Now, before I say what I'm going to say, I will say Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach. Wasn't a good head coach with the Broncos. Not a good head coach now. He hasn't developed. He hasn't learned from his mistakes. And we're seeing the same story from him. An undisciplined group can't finish games. We're seeing that time and time again with the Raiders this season. We saw them against the Cardinals, against the Chiefs, against now the Jaguars, have these massive leads, 3-score leads, and end up crumbling. Josh McDaniels is definitely the biggest problem with this Las Vegas Raiders team. But I think it's time for Derrick Carr to go. They're going to ride it out with him the rest of the season. I don't think they should bench him because what he's done for this franchise, for the cities, what he's done has been so commendable, so respectable. How he handled the Henry Ruggs issue with such class, instead of piling hate onto the guy and well-deserved hate, did a horrific thing going 120 down the Vegas Strip, killing somebody. It was horrible. Instead of piling onto a guy, he gives him love. He gives him he prays for him. He wants to see him turn around from this instead of just heaping a bunch of crap onto him that he was already facing. I respected that man. I respected Derrick Carr. I respected him so much more after his reaction to the Henry Ruggs incident. I respect Derrick Carr so much. The way the team rallied around him last year, he was the emotional backbone for that team. He held everybody together. He kept a calm, cool head throughout all the controversy, all the crap he was given last year, had no offensive weapons outside of Josh Jacobs, and they go to the playoffs. I love Derrick Carr. I love him as a person. I don't know him personally, obviously, but just what I see from Derrick Carr, I really like it. Unfortunately, though, Derrick Carr as a quarterback there's a line. There's a line of good enough. And I always say good enough isn't good enough, but I mean the actual line of good enough to me, of what it takes to be an elite quarterback in this league that your team should build around. Now, it'd be one thing if Derrick Carr was in his third or fourth season and we're seeing these late game collapses. We're seeing the inability to go to anybody else besides Devontae Adams. His ability just to hone in on one guy and ignore almost everybody else. Devontae Adams had an incredible first half, 10 catches, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, and second half, nada. And what happened? The team crumbled because Derek Carr wasn't able to find Mac Hollins, wasn't able to find any of his other receivers. Hunter Renfrow, they were, again, without Darren Waller, and that sucks. And I'm sure you guys can tell by my tone. I don't feel good about sitting here and saying this because I like Derek Carr. I like him as a person. I think he is a good quarterback. But what is this, year 8, 9, 10 of Derek Carr? Only has 2 playoff appearances. Actually, only has 1 playoff appearance because the first time he broke his back, and then Connor Cook came in, and it was just one of the worst games, one of the worst playoff games I've ever seen. He's only had 1 playoff game that he's played in. It's 8, 9, 10 years now. It's the second city he's played in. He's played in with the Raiders, played in more cities now, Oakland and Las Vegas, than playoff games he's played in. It's over with. And it sucks because they don't have a first-round pick next year. Obviously, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young is out there. These beautiful toys that definitely elevate this team and are most certainly going to be 2 absolute rock-solid studs for years to come. They gave up their first with Devontae Adams. They don't necessarily have a quick option to then move off of him, off of Derrick Carr. So there's a good chance I don't think he will be the quarterback this time next year. I think it will be somebody else. I have no idea how they're going to come to that place. We will see that as the rest of the season plays out, as the offseason plays out. I don't know who the guy is, but I like Derrick Carr. I want him to succeed, but just simply put, is not succeeding. You can't fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars after being up 3 scores. We've seen the mess that the Arizona Cardinals have been. You can't be shutting them out in the first half and then losing to them in the second half like they did. Kansas City Chiefs, there's worse teams. There's worse teams to forfeit leads to like they did. Where as things stand, they're directly middle of the road in passing. Josh Jacobs has been very solid, but even that middle of the road in the rushing game. Statistically, they're so middle of the road, and win-loss, they're 2-6 now. I like Derek Carr. I want him to succeed, but he's not the quarterback for the Raiders from this point out, really.